Okay, that should be all set now. Now, did you want me to start going through the agenda, or were you going to?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Welcome everyone to the 30th August 2022 VOLTHA TST meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and would later be published in a YouTube channel. So please be aware of that before making any, before disclosing any proprietary information. So what I have done as usual is that I've copied over the items that we had on the 23rd, the new section for today. We will go through those and revisit the actions that we had. I have not seen any new items being added. There are updates, definitely, yes, but no new items. So yeah, let's get started. So the first one was regarding an ask for working on VoltCuttle updates to be able to display the ONU OMCI counter statistics that some of our ATRAM colleagues are planning to add in the OpenOMNI adapter. And there was an ask if someone could pick up this piece of work. We could not have any volunteers in the previous meeting. I don't know if that status has changed. If anyone wants to work on this, then please feel free to come forward, else we move to the next one. So I don't hear anything. So yeah, we leave that open. So the next one is regarding the OLT app patch set. This has been on for quite some time. I think the review was done. Gustavo, if you are on the meeting, you could speak for this. But
Yeah.
the last time, yeah, go ahead, please, Gustavo.
No, it's just that the last thing that we talked about was related to verifying with regression tests.
Yeah.
And then I have created an anonymous image and uploaded to Docker Hub. And now, like, I guess we are discussing it on Slack about how we're gonna do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so Gustavo, thanks for this fix. But we don't have a test case for this scenario. It seems like you're changing the status configuration after the first subscriber has been provisioned. So we don't have a test case. So it does. I mean, I could trigger any test job, but it doesn't make sense because it's not being tested. So as long as you have manually tested and the tests on your patch are passing, that's okay. But I would think that we need to add a separate test case for this one. I mean, if this scenario really needs to be covered in our VOLTHA system test.
Right. So there will be another action. I mean, to create that test case.
Ideally,
right?
yes. I mean, you may want to create a Jira, and someone should volunteer and create that test case. But I don't want to block your patch set because of that.
Okay. I already tested it manually, and on my test it worked. If somebody wants to give another shot, like do a manual test, but I guess it's good to go.
So at least in my opinion, I think the first thing that we need to check is if there is a regression, right? If there is no regression, yes, a test case can be added, but I would not think it is a very high priority because this is not affecting any of the workflows, right? Or any of the situations that we currently address using our existing test framework. Right? But yes, if this is a feature which is definitely going to be used by quite a few folks, then I would say that in that case, definitely automated test case also should be added. But I think checking for the regression should be the first priority.
Yeah, I think the patch set should already have some sanity tests, running on it. Let me check. Or you should also have some. You could also make some comments in the get patch, and there are some hooks that are attached to these comments that trigger the test. I think those are good enough. I mean, we don't need to manually trigger some jobs. Take your image and run some jobs. I don't think that would be necessary.
Maybe I'm missing something here, because so the hooks that are there, how would that trigger any test cases in this specific case? Because the hooks would be on the quality app repo, right?
I see your point. Yeah, you're right. For apps, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. So I think the only way to check for regression would be to use the image that Gustavo has.
Yeah, that should be easy. I mean, there are many jobs that run on BBSIM.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joey, would it be okay if I give that action to you so that you also get your hands dirty on running the jobs on specific images?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So apart from this, Gustavo, I saw there's one more patch set that you submitted. That was
Yes,
right?
it's related to another item in the agenda.
Okay, so we come to that later. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's move on. Volta Go controller, what we had here. I think this was to, yeah, so this was to check if we could run the test job for the multicast tests on another site. So we definitely had some discussion on that between myself, Joey, and Girish. So sorry, Joey, I had to drop off the other day. So did you get a chance to work with Girish, and did we make any progress on that?
I was asking Garish this morning when we can schedule a meeting to start going through the VLAN tagging and all that.
Okay.
No progress on it as yet.
Okay, so we keep this open. So the next one is regarding the OpenOLT restart and provision fails. This was regarding the meters, right? And I think,
Yes, and that's what my patch set is all about. So I guess the last status was that I would talk with Andrea, but actually I didn't talk with Andrea. I had another idea about how to solve it, and then I uploaded a patch set. I'm not sure if somebody else needs to take a look, but I saw that Emmett already gave a review. Let me post it here. And now, in that case, I'm not sure if we have a job to test against this patch set. Girish.
I would think it would be the same process again, right? We have to create on our image with this app with the changes that have been okay.
I did. I can share with Girish.
Yeah. Yeah, the issue with the apps is, I mean, we need a manual trigger. There are no jobs tied, to the OLT apps. So we have to manually trigger them.
So I have looked into the WhatsApp. Looks okay to me. Maybe there are others who would want to have a look at it. So I will keep this with you, if you don't mind, Gustavo, for the moment, so that we revisit this till the code gets merged. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else on this point? Else I can move to the next one. Okay. So the next one is regarding the access permissions, and I see Joy, you have put in some updates here.
Correct. There was a patch that was pending that needed to be merged in, and there were some other pieces that needed to be modified. All the configs have been changed, and Torsten and Mahir have confirmed that they have access now. So they'll be able to trigger jobs as needed. And my understanding, the background for the request to be able to initiate jobs from the community in general, that was a holdover from before, when people were departing for Intel, and prior to my coming on board. Yeah, there was a general question of who was going to initiate the test jobs manually, if the need arose. Since the TSTs have permissions now, and ONF staff will be able to trigger them as a, or do more advanced maneuvers if we need to. We should be all good on this front now.
Yeah, at least I agree to this. I think we could keep it this way unless we see other reasons why this needs to change.
Yeah, Thor's not here, but I can also confirm for him that he has access.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next one was I think a couple of them. So I think one of them was to upgrade Redis to a newer version, and the other one was to make the starting of ONOS as the default behavior in the helm charts. Tinoj, if you are on the call, can you speak up for this one?
I think is not there on the call. That has been taken care, and the changes have been merged. If still there is any discrepancies, we would be happy to correct it. But that patch set has been merged now.
So what you're confirming is that now when we bring up the setup using VOLTHA helm charts, the default would be ONOS, and Redis would not get installed.
Yes.
So then I think I can close this item now. And any idea on this one is the change to the newer version of Redis that is used by Bitnami. Is that also done?
That is, there's a small portion of it is still pending. So I would not say completely done.
Okay.
But most of it has been completed.
So okay, so we will revisit this at a later point. this was regarding the encryption for XGS PON, and I think this one is merged, right? I think Volga merged it. Okay. So I think we can close this as well. Okay, no real progress on this one. The other one, the next one was regarding some issues that were seen by Daniel when he tried doing some operations of Volcker commands when an OLT is in disconnected state, and the action was to create separate JIRAs for these issues. And I see Mahir has put in another comment on that.
Yes, actually, Amit, I checked the documents that we prepared before, back in the time after TST meetings. I remember that we discussed about this previously, and I found the related document that is created after the meetings in 2020 September. So there are some decisions there about different APIs in VOLTHA and how VOLTHA should react to them. So for disabled device and delayed device, you see also there are some decisions that have taken. The green highlighted text are the decisions which are taken. You know, we introduced a new force delayed API there to force VOLTHA to clean itself, even it cannot get any answer from the device. But in the device delayed case, it says that the core should wait until the adapter responded. So if the response from the adapter is success, then core should delete, the content in the VOLTHA. Otherwise, it shouldn't. So I think the behavior should be, according to this decision. This is the action in the VOLTHA core, but adapter itself should, act according to this. So if the problem is in core, it should be fixed according to this. If the problem is in the OLT adapter itself, if OLT adapter cleans itself before calling the OLT device and get the success answer, I think the behavior should be changed to first call the OLT, and if get the success response, then clean itself. Or if it gets a non-successful response, then shouldn't delete the contents about the device in the OLT adapter and inform the core accordingly, I think.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
So
I was looking into this issue. I got into my hands into this document yesterday, and we're still trying to grasp all of it. I just had some questions. First, the deleted status that is mentioned in the document, I couldn't get a reference of it. The actual implementation was a bit different. Instead of being in the deleted state, it's a delete failed state. And I was just trying to understand that, if there are any other different implementations other than that. And I reached into a problem where in the adapter, it was not propagating the error. It was just logging it and not returning. So the VOLTHA core did not see the error occurring. I'm trying to test around it, but as I said, still I couldn't investigate all of it.
Okay. First, I think we should change the behavior of OLT adapters to send the response to the VOLTHA core. For the core side, if your investigations finalized or during your investigations you have any say questions, etc., please reach out to us. I mean, community on Slack. Okay, we can discuss that.
Okay, thank you.
Find an answer. Yeah, I know that after this document we introduced a transient state also into the core. So I think it changed its transient state to, I mean, deleting or something like that, or waiting, delete, etc. Then if it gets the success response from the OLT adapter, it's changed its actual state, its operation state to delete it, I guess.
Mhm.
But if you have a problem there, I can also review it and we can discuss it on Slack. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mahir. I have also opened the Jira, but I did not open it as separate issues. I just opened it for the error from the adapter that was being issued when deleting the OLT while unreachable.
Okay.
It's 4771.
Okay. The second issue was, I mean, calling, say, sending the request to OLT in unreachable state. If the device is in unreachable state, isn't it? I mean, the current OLT adapter is sending the request to the OLT even it's in unreachable state. So this was the second problem about this issue, as far as I remember.
Yeah, I had some trouble remembering, but I can open it as that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please tell the number once again?
It's 4771.
47.
So after the analysis I was talking about, this error, the OLT reboot failed error, was the one that was not being propagated. It was not being returned, just logged. So the core didn't know about it.
Okay.
OLT could not be rebooted. So can we add it here? But this error is already mentioned somewhere.
No, you can edit.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So I'll also put it here. Okay, so I close this action, and we will revisit this later on. Okay, so moving on, some Volta components. Example, ONU adapter has been changed without updating the version file. And I think, Joey, you were investigating on how did this happen, as in why didn't the automated checks catch this?
Correct.
Yeah.
I've been looking into it. There's a couple of questions that came up and some details that have come up. So programmatically, we can check the version strings and verify that the major, the minor values are being incremented with each of the check-ins that are made, or the check-ins or the merges that are made. That's the easy part. I'm still looking into where the check is actually happening. But for the logic itself, when we started digging into this, I guess a majority of the people working on the VOLTHA code base are working based right on the master branch. They're doing commits directly into master rather than creating like a developer branch and then getting it reviewed and merging the developer branch in. One of the items that came up in the VOLTHA docs, it says you can include a dev suffix on version strings, and it looks like the behavior around that is conditional. You can control if images are considered for release. There's some other behavior around them. So we're just trying to get my thoughts straight here. So there was also from some of the discussions that came out, there was mention that we should not be checking changes into in the version file, modifying the string so that it does contain a version suffix. And the rationale I get for that, I understand, was we should be maintaining integral version strings as part of the mainline development and for the release and the distributed images. If we perform the version checking when there's modifiers in play, there's a few strange cases that we have to deal with. Like if the version is currently 1.1 and somebody submits version 1.2-dev, according to revision checking, that would be a proper increment because we incremented the minor number. The kind of odd thing for release, if we do follow that, is the next version to follow after would be should it be version 1.3 or version 1.2-dev 1? Well, I guess the first thing to maybe straighten out is, should we be allowing dev modifiers in the version file to begin with? Because the information right now is it's documented on the VOLTHA page, but I've also heard suggestions that we shouldn't be including it as part of the version string.
Joy, in VOLTHA documentation, it writes that you can use the dev suffix, but then the system will not generate the Docker images and publish them on the repository. So the problem here is, or the question here is, then how do we do tests with this, dev versions?
Mm-hmm.
If there's no Docker image published?
No, the Docker image gets published, but only the latest. It gets published with the latest tag only, but no version tags are released. Was that clear? I'm not sure what issue was seen here, but as far as I understood and how we have been doing it in the past is we increase the patch version only if there are minor bug fixes. We increase the minor version for minor features, and major if there is a major change in functionality, API change, interface change. But if you don't want to release a version, you just keep it at -dev. Say, for example, 1.1.1-dev, and you increase. You migrate to 1.1.1 when you want to release that version. That should be fine. It's not the case that if it's at -dev, your image is not getting released. It's not getting released with that version tag, but the latest tag should always get updated.
Okay,
I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to confirm that the issue came up just before because the version file was not updated at all. And I think that brought it into the discussion now whether there should be any checks in the Jenkins jobs to make sure that the version file is updated. And if yes, what checks are these?
Well, the scripts only check if the versions are properly incremented. If it's at -dev, the version file wouldn't know, what changes actually went into the logic in your code so as to decide whether you should increase the patch version, the minor or major. I mean, that's for the developer to decide whether they want to increase.
That is right.
Yeah.
But the question is not to reuse an existing version. That is the point here.
Well, you may choose not to increase, go from -dev to the next patch version. I mean,
right.
That's up to you, but
you cannot leave it as it is. That is the point.
You can leave it as it is, but the Docker image for that version won't be released. But still, a Docker image would be updated with the tag hyphen, something :latest. So that would always get updated. But the version will not be released. Say, for example, if you have 1.1.1-dev and the patch is merged, and let's say your component is some, ABC, that's your, say, for example, let's take the case of, VOLTHA OpenONU adapter. So you will still have VOLTHA/VOLTHA OpenONU adapter :latest. So that will still get published to Docker Hub. But the 1.1.1 tag will not be released because it's still at -dev.
Yeah, I think that is all okay. I think if I look into perhaps we need to discuss the open issue here 4770 to look into the specific requirement. The issue is here is that there is a proposal to always increase the version or change the version number and not allow an additional branch to be created or commit to be done in the main branch without increasing it. I think that is the point here.
Well, if that's the decision you want to go, that's fine by me. But in the past, we have not done that. I mean, sometimes we have chosen to stay at -dev. I mean, if the change was very, very minor, and then only gone to the next, patch or minor or major version when it was needed. That still worked. So, yeah, I'm not sure what we're trying to say.
Yeah. I also don't want to say that is the way forward here. It is just that I would like to streamline what is request. So I refer to the statement here, behavior would require modifying the version file with every submit. That is what I'm referring to, and I'm not sure whether that is something the community wants. It just, that was the observation. So there was a change to an existing file without increasing the version.
Let me, I can add one more piece of detail behind this that has come up too. So originally when I was looking into this, the request to verify that the version string had been incremented, I thought was based purely on the commit that was made. So we'd be running a commit hook to verify that the version string had been updated. What it sounds like, from what I've been hearing, we actually have two places where we could potentially check the version string. You could do it during check-in, basically diff the version that's being checked in against what the current head is, and then you could check the strings with that. There's a second version that we can check, and that would be at merge time, which that's the version strings that are on the Docker tags, not the version that's in the directly that's in the version file. And it's sounding like if we need to preserve the behavior of not revving the image because there's a dev tag in the version file, it sounds like the checking should exclusively happen during merges when we're checking for Docker tags to make sure those versions have been incremented.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
There were some more comments pasted. You can read them later if you want. There's some more comments pasted down below, which kind of capture that too. They weren't included in the original. The original wasn't stated very well.
Yeah, so this point, right, which says that, okay, when a merge request is into the master branch, version string cannot contain /dev. So, do we want this, or should we stay with the existing behavior of allowing it?
I wasn't proposing this. That's one of the things that I had heard, that we shouldn't be using dev on the master or release branch. That sounds like it's Docker tags now, not the version string.
We should not have a -dev when we actually make a final release, like, say, for example, 2.7 or 2.8 or 3.0. But during the normal course of development, until the final release happens, I mean, you could use -dev, but use -dev only, I mean, if the changes are very minor, but we would still recommend, incrementing the patch major or minor as and when needed. But,
So Girish, is there any advantage of retaining the -dev on the master branch?
there is no advantage. I mean, if you have a proper version, they always, get released as a tag. I mean, even if you go to GitHub, you would see those tags. So it's always, possible to, check out a particular tag to get that particular feature or functionality. So there is no real advantage with -dev, but that's just a functionality that has been provided in the past.
Girish, after you did a commit with dev hyphen, can you do another one with, again, same dev hyphen, or you
can do that.
dev 1, dev 2, dev 3, something like that, or again the same version with the -dev, you can commit another one?
You can commit with the same -dev. I have seen in OpenONU adapters, they are using dev 1, 2, 3 like that, but that's something that the OpenONU adapter has been following. But if you see other projects, I mean, you can still be on the same -dev in the next commit as well. There is no problem.
Okay. The only advantage here, if you can say it's advantage, if you put, I mean, if there's a very small edit you did and you don't want to increment any of the major, minor, or patch digits, then you can use the dev suffix.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't use that, use -dev, I mean, that will get released as a Docker image with that tag, as well as a Git tag would also be generated. So you can always, go back in time and, pull that Docker image with that particular tag, or, check out that code on GitHub with that particular tag. So it's always possible to go back in time and check out that particular change. I mean, if you don't want that, if it's just a minor change, you can stick with -dev.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing, Girish, so if this is not really giving us any real advantage, right? Then wouldn't it just be cleaner saying that, okay, on master branch, we cannot have versions with -dev?
Yeah, sure.
It just simplifies things, right?
I think so, but we already have an infrastructure that does all these checks. So it's still not clear to me, what are we trying to solve here? Was there a problem that, triggered this, or, it's just.
Yeah, at least my understanding is that there were 2 merges that happened onto the ONU adapter master branch with exactly the same thing, and we're not able to figure out the exact commit. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. That is the issue.
Was it including the dev suffix or not? Or it was only 3 digits, minor, major, minor, and say the phase, the patch, sorry.
I think the agenda mentioned it did have a dev suffix.
Yeah.
That is fine. I mean, that's allowed already.
Yes. As far as I understand, it's allowed. If you put the -dev, you can, I mean, use it in different patches, so it's allowed. But the system shouldn't allow to use 1.1.5 again if it's used first. Okay.
Right. Just note that, a Docker image with that particular tag won't be released because it's -dev, but you should still see a Docker image updated with the latest tag.
Okay. Got it. So to me, it can be, it's okay, but we shouldn't recommend too much, I mean, to use the dev or other
Right.
suffix. Yeah. It is recommended to increment the patch at least, I mean, for small patches, we can increment the patch digit only instead of using dev suffix.
So, which would mean basically we close this request here because the main item which we all agree on is that on things which are not having a def, we are not allowing to commit again with the same number.
Yeah.
But on the def, we recommend not to do it, but we do not prohibit it.
Right.
Which is fine. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
that-
think
Won't that also negate the having to check for it automatically in the system, because basically the dev branch is disabling the what would be the version check?
Yeah, I think the dev disables the version check. I think so, yes.
Okay.
But the next time, the version is updated, I think, the version checks kick in.
Mhm. So it sounds like the agenda item can be just closed outright in addition to this ticket then.
yes, I think that's what the conclusion is. Yeah, but anyways, I think the recommendation is that ideally the -dev should not go into the master branch, ideally, because in most cases, if we are submitting a commit, there is a change in behavior, right? So at least the patch level should increase. But yes, in some cases, if the developer knows that we don't need a version change, yes, it is allowed. So can we say that, okay, no changes needed?
Yeah.
Okay. So then this section can be closed as well. We have this last item, which is Holger requested creation of branch VOLTHA 2.10. And
I think Amit here, after, because the all releases now are LTS, I think that after we release the code, tag it, we should create the branches in default. So after VOLTHA 2.10 is released, I think we should create the branches.
So let me give some history. So in the past, we have lazily created branches as needed. So if you want one now, to backport some of the fixes back to 2.10 release, I mean, you may create it, but we didn't create it upfront as soon as the release was done. We were lazily creating them. If you need one for open ONU adapter, yeah, that can be created.
Yeah, so before you make further changes, right, to the master branch, you carve out the 2.10 branch on which support can be done. That's the philosophy, right?
Yeah, I mean that's not lazily doing it, right? I mean, as soon as you if you wanted to backport a fix and the branch was not there, then you created one.
Yeah, that's the same what I'm saying, right? So no, okay, maybe I'm wrong. So you're saying only if we need to backport a fix, then we create the branch. Else,
Yeah, we don't do it.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we did, but I'm not suggesting we do the same.
Yeah, okay.
And we can always change that.
So in that case, say we already have 2.10 released, right? And say, and ONU adapter already has, for example, one patch set, which was for the XGS PON encryption, right? That got merged. Now we don't have any tag or anything on the branch yet. Now, if a bug is reported in the ONU adapter in the 2.10 release, how do we find out which was the commit that was used for the release? Is that recorded somewhere?
The release docs, have the tags that were that were released, on that release date. And as soon as the release was done, we upgrade the minor or the major version for all the components. So you have that point in time, that particular tag. So you go ahead and create a branch on that tag.
Okay.
I think the release docs are available in the VOLTHA docs folder, so you can go back and always check what was the tag that was released for that particular VOLTHA release.
Okay, I think that is what we have been working with, and that should be fine, right? So unless there is a bug which is reported on 2.10, we don't create the 2.10 branch.
Yeah, right.
Or yeah. So in this case, we don't need to create, right?
Actually,
Not sure. If Holger, why he wanted that? Does he want to backport? Yeah, in that case, yeah, we may need to. Else not.
Yeah, I cannot comment here. Holger is unfortunately not here, so we have to ask it offline.
Okay, so we connection. Okay, anything else on this branching topic? I don't hear anything. So that brings us to the end of the items that we had in the rolling agenda. So we can open up the floor for any other discussions that folks want to bring up today. We have 8 minutes left. Looks like none. Then in that case, we can end a little early. Thanks all for your participation today. Talk to you all next week. Bye-bye.
Yep, thanks.
bye.
Bye bye.